Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and today we're going to talk about sex and femininity. For a lot of trans women and also non-trans women, what are they called? Cis women? For all women, I think this is really important when we're trying to understand and cultivate our femininity. Like, where are you with your femininity and your cultivation? Have you feel like you've perhaps lost it, or feel like perhaps you're trying to find it or recultivate it? If you're transitioning, it might be trying to discover it, but if you're a cis woman, it might be along the lines of, what is my real femininity versus what societal femininity is, and what has been impressed upon me as to what femininity is versus what's my truest version of femininity. If this is a topic that you're interested in exploring, I'm going to talk about this in relation to sex today, but I've also talked about this in a lot more detail and implemented practices in other videos that I have on my channel, as well as on my website. I have a meditation series on embracing femininity. So if that interests you, let's dig into this some more, and I'm going to be turning on that because that's cool. So there's kind of like three main topics that I have here on my list to cover. And the first one is self-acceptance and willingness to go into your feminine space. This is super important, so we're going to dig into that. Followed by the components of the right partner to really work with you in a space where you can heal and learn how to embrace your femininity more. And then the last part we're going to talk about is your self-perception and your ability to work with your energy, because energetic play between masculine and feminine and how that kind of all works in the bedroom is also super important. So those are the three pieces. Let's dig in. So self-acceptance and willingness to engage. This is probably it's kind of like the foundation to embracing and experiencing yourself as who you want to be. We always talk about self-acceptance, like I'm sure you've heard in some shape or form, oh, just like accept yourself, babe, or just like, you are perfect as who you are. And yeah, that's great to hear, and we all know that it exists, but that doesn't always really help us get to actual self-acceptance. So like when we're like working through trying to find like who we are and really embracing that, it's actually often really productive to push your comfort level a little bit in who you think you are. Because sometimes who you actually are is not who you think you are. Like, have you ever found something in your life where you've said, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I liked this, or I didn't realize this was me? Do you know what I mean? Like those kinds of moments where you discover this inner knowing that says, that's definitely feeling right, that's definitely me, is kind of like that moment where you transition over from your self that was constructed by society and the self that is more true to you. I feel like this is something that we go through our entire life, is continuing to deconstruct and evolve as we grow and learn about the world to really discover who we truly are and what we truly want. Have you met older people, especially older women, who really know who they are and have a lot of opinions, and maybe they're not always right, but at least they know who they are and they're consistently that? Yeah, I think that's something that comes with age and in going through this process of life. So when it comes to the bedroom, I think like self-acceptance and willingness to engage is sort of like your willingness to put in effort to push yourself a little bit more to discover where your edges and your boundaries are internally, and what you feel comfortable in presenting and experiencing. For me, sex has always been sort of like a validating gender experience where when I was identifying as a male, I really tried to play up that role in the bedroom for my partner so that way they could feel in their feminine and female space, and I could feel like I was doing my role as a man. So stupid. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that if you feel like you'd like a lot more thoughtful videos. I publish about 3 a week, so there's plenty to dive into. But anyways, like this willingness will help you propel through your own fears. There's a part within you, and I go into this in depth in my meditation series on embracing femininity, which is the part of you that prevents you from allowing yourself to experience certain things. This is like, I call them the gatekeeper. So have you ever had this moment, here's how I'll describe it. Have you ever had this moment where you feel like you've gone into a space that maybe feels a little bit vulnerable, or maybe you want to embrace a little bit more of your femininity, and then suddenly go, oh, like I'm not allowed to do that. This is not safe, that kind of a thing. Yeah, that is the gatekeeper. That is your self-control mechanism, your support and protective mechanism that really tries to choose when it's okay to be safe in who you actually are. But the problem is you don't often know how to access and turn on and off this switch. And so most of the time, your protective mechanism will keep you in a place where you won't be willing to engage and step into your femininity. So you need to have almost like an exercise to be able to open and unlock yourself from holding back in your femininity and your expression. And this is super key. I go into it in my program and a meditation series, but this is super key on a very high level. So find that for you. And then the next part is your partner. So I just recently have started dating someone. It's been about two and a half weeks, and he's been amazing. The previous partner I had told me that I wasn't feminine enough, and it was devastating. But ironically, this partner is like, oh my God, I love how feminine you are. And it got me thinking a lot about the role of the partner and how that experience of femininity can occur. Let's turn on these lasers. Boom, this is the next part of the video. So the partner is so key. And of course that sounds obvious, but let me give you an example of how key this has been for me. So with the previous partner that I was seeing, he ultimately told me that I wasn't feminine enough. But in the bedroom, what I experienced with him was that he never opened his heart fully. He never really allowed me space to be embraced as a woman. And I feel like I found this out later when he told me that I wasn't feminine enough, that he didn't truly believe on the deepest level that I was a woman. And that in his view, I think he saw me as a trans woman, and cognitively he would accept that I was a woman, but did not actually fundamentally believe that I was a woman. Probably because to do that would break or wreck some of his belief systems. In contrast, the partner that I have now believes that I'm a woman, sees me as a woman, treats me as a woman, and gives me the space to be a woman. And I think this is the chemistry part in sex, which is like super powerful, is when someone can see you as who you want to be seen, embraces you as you want to be seen, and gives you that energy. You can feed off of that and grow, because sometimes you may not believe that you are who you are. Sometimes I don't believe I'm as pretty as some people say I am, and sometimes I still have little doubts of, am I actually the authentic woman that I present? Like, do I actually always feel like a feminine woman? And that's probably a question that you've asked yourself too. Like, do you always feel like you are that feminine version of yourself that you want to be? Right? That's a question you probably ask. And so that question and that answer can come sometimes in the play in the bedroom with your partner. And if your partner sees you and plays with you in the way that you want to be embraced, that feedback you can use as a mechanism and momentum to grow and to reteach the part of you that doubts who you are. I think this is probably the most important tip and trick that I'm about to give you with getting past your imposter syndrome and your self-doubt. And that is to look for evidence that is contrary to your negative self-talk. You know, those things that you say in your head that say, you're not worthy, you're not valuable, you're not special, you're not beautiful. All of those thoughts, they can come up. And the more that you listen to them, of course, they get stronger. But if you look for evidence and you give yourself the ability to give the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, this person says I'm beautiful. This person treats me like how I want to be treated. Maybe I am wrong about my own fundamental doubts that perhaps I'm not valuable. Doesn't that sound appealing to get rid of those voices? So give that a try. See if there's ways that you can create doubt about your doubt. Now, this video is running a little long, so I'll just touch on it very briefly, which is self-perception and energetics. I've already talked a little bit about how someone's perception can affect your perception, but I think the other part is your ability to allow yourself space to become more fluid. This is at the crux, I think, of anyone's personal transformation, and especially for trans people, is to allow yourself space to change how you perceive yourself. So I may perceive myself as a doubtful trans woman, and the more that I perceive that, the harder and the more locked I get into that perception. Have you ever felt judged by someone and felt like you're kind of stuck in this way that they've judged you? That is your own wrestle with your judgment, your perception, and someone else's perception that they've locked into you. So when you have a partner and you're playing in this kind of way, you can undo certain bonds of your own perception and experience of what other people have projected onto you, and then allow that to kind of melt and shapeshift a bit. It's kind of like inner alchemy in a sexual setting. It's pretty powerful, and I highly recommend it if you can find a partner. It's been my entire time in Berlin to really find this partner that I found, and I'm really enjoying it so far. We'll see where it goes. But that's it for this video. If you'd like to dig into this more, of course, I have my book and I have my meditation series. And I just want to give a shout out to all of my patrons who support me in making these videos every week. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you're new, and write a comment down below to let me know if you're new here. I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.